Hi, what's going on guys? It's Almond. Welcome back to another Wizard101 video. In today's video, we're going to be talking more about spell fusions and basically talk about all the new weaving spells, fusion spells, all that type of stuff in this video because there's like 84 plus spells and I've been working on this like Google slide for like the past I don't even know how long at this point, gathering images from people, and I've been using some images I've been using the previous slides I made for like the spell fusion video, like the whole complete guide, but this one's just going to be an entire guide specifically talking about all the new spells. And I was able to get a bunch of images from other people and use them for this video. So if you do enjoy this type of content, sure leave a like, subscribe, all type of stuff. Join Discord down below. This whole Google slide and stuff like that will be in the Discord. So if you want to see it and everything like that, and like, you know, up close, if you're more of a visual person, just want to like explore, you're more than welcome to. Everything will be in the Discord. And yeah, so let's get into today's content, shall we? So we have already talked about all this stuff like the pip cost, how it works in combat. So if you don't know, definitely either look at the guide in the Discord or watch the video. But this one's particularly talking about like how weaving works for like certain schools. So I've made different slides for different paths depending on what school you are, right? And we also even have like the spell elements and stuff like that. If you want to check those out, you can. But we're gonna be talking about them individually and stuff. So basic premise is this tab, or how each one works, is if you'll read the title. If I'm a storm wizard weaving into blank school. So if I'm a storm weaving into fire, ice, myth, life, death, balance, and so forth, right? And same premise for all the other ones, right? So basically organize it all like neat, so it's easy to see what school you are and what spells you get for weaving into them. So let's talk about storm, for example, and we'll slowly make our way through because I don't know how long this video is going to make, so I'll try to be quick about it as best as I can. So if you are a storm and you weave into fire, you do get boiling kraken as your fusion. Now boiling kraken does look interesting, right? I'm not going to go too far in depth on like what each card does, how good it's going to be, because we'll be here for a while. But boiling kraken does look nice. What you do is you have to use a kraken and combine it with immolate and you get boiling kraken. So that's how you get that fusion formula. And then you get lightning goon as your utility spell. Depending on the path you choose, you get a different utility spell. For fire, and you'll see in all the other ones, you get a dot. You get a 5 pip dot essentially that does your school and the school that you weaved into. So if you weaved into fire, you get storm and fire. So there's that. If you weave into ice, you get Chillzilla. You combine Stormzilla with a snowman and you get Chillzilla. And then you also get access to a hail trap as your utility. So keep that in mind, and it is 1 pip. Most of these are 1 pip. Some of them follow like certain things, which we'll talk about. Then you get Mythic Mermaids. Mythic Mermaids is if you weave into Myth, right? You get a Stone Colossus and a Siren, so you combine them and you get weaving, or you get Mythic Mermaids. And then you also get a Quake Trap. If you weave into life, you get Green Serpent, which I'm surprised they use this. I'm kind of happy. I really do like this life Leviathan animation, and I'm glad it's actually being used. So thank you, KI. Thank you for using this one. So Green Serpent, if you combine Leviathan and Centaur, and then also your utility is Flood Amplify, which is basically what they're doing is they're giving life auras. So life is now having access to auras now. So all of their utilities, if you weave into life, excluding like life weaving into life because that's not a thing, you get auras. So it'll be like your school and then life, which is nice. So it's like another aura that people are going to be packing, which is crazy to think about. But it is 1 pip, so you are spending a pip to cast this aura, and it's still 4 rounds. So there's that. Grimzilla, we already know about. I don't need to talk too much about that. And then we got this one, which is a negative aura. So Typhoon Intinuate, which basically you cast this on somebody, it's a negative aura, and they take incoming damage from 35% from death and 35% from storm. So it's like an extra additional trap. If they want to remove it, they can remove it, etc. So it will last for 4 rounds. So there's that. But if they counter it, whatever, you already know. And then you have King of Order. This one looks cool. I haven't seen the animation on it, but the artwork looks amazing. But you combine a Stormzilla and a Gearhead. Yeah. And you get a Tornado Blade. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be asking this. Is this a balance? Are these like stackable? Like, can I just cast a spell and I use both blades? No. I thought that they were going to do something like that. at first. Like I even like clarified to make sure, like, yo, you should put it as a balance blade because it'll just be busted. But yes, these are separate blades, and they specifically made it so it's a balance blade, not a universal blade. So keep that in mind with whatever you do. So there's that. So these are all the paths that you can take as a storm wizard, and then you do have your mono fusion, which I've kind of already touched on in the spellnet video. So if you haven't, go check that out. But there's updated art from the previous one. But the previous one I like manually did the stuff, but now there's actually like official what it looks like. So yeah, so this is what it looks like. I'm not gonna go too in depth, but yeah, you get those two spells, and then I still kept these at the bottom so people know what these spells are, like at least the new ones. So there's that. But you do get mono fusion as well. So let's go to the next one. We got ice. So if I'm an ice wizard and I choose to weave into fire, storm, myth, life, death, bounce. As a fire, you will get this spell. It will be a dual dot spell that does, well, basically lasts 4 rounds, and it's 5 pips. And then of course we do get Evil Magnaman, which they've teased before and I've talked about a little bit. You basically get it for combining a snowman and a fire elf. Just remember the tiers don't matter, so you still get the same outcome. You want to preface that. Then of course if you're storm, you get Blizzard Blade, which you get 2 blades, obviously, 1 for your school, 1 for storm. And then if you get it, you combine Wyvern and Stormzilla, and you get Tempest Wyvern. And then for myth, if you combine Colossus and Stone Colossus, you basically get another Colossus. I don't know if this is the same animation. I haven't tested it. I haven't looked at it. I will do video with all the animations. I don't know how long that's going to take, but I will try. The quests are kind of like really hard to do on test round from what people have been telling me. So if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But eventually I do want to make a video on all these animations. But yes, you basically get another Stone Colossus. But you get Winter Trap, which is a trap for your school and a trap for myth. Then you get Mountain Man, which is Colossus and Leprechaun, and you can get that. And then you get Glacier Amplifier. And then Death, you get Primal Stampede, which this card art looks nice too. But it's Woolly Mammoth and Skeletal Pyre combined, and you get that card. And you get Bleak Intunuate. So same thing as I prefaced about how that card works. And then balance, you get Sand Colossus, and then you get Avalanche Trap. So how the balance one works, specifically, at least for all of them, you get basically a buff depending on your school. So obviously, so I'm ice and I'm weaving into balance, so I get trap because ice carries like focus on traps. And if you saw on storm, they got a blade. So you're seeing what this goes with. Now we can go to fire now. Or actually, I should talk about this for, there's also the mono fusion updated art, of course, so you get those as well. I'm just gonna quickly talk about that, but yeah, that is updated on the here too. Now let's look at fire. So if I'm a fire and I weave into these schools, what do I get? So if you're weaving into ice, you get Cryo Cat, which they have talked about on their streams, and then you also get Steam Trap as well, so it's the dual traps. Then if you're a fire and you weave into storm, you get Lightning Dragon. It's a select target spell, which I think I've talked about as well too. So there's that. If you combine Fire Dragon with Triton, you get that combo. And yeah, you get the Firestorm Blade. Myth, you get Bardic Elf. If you combine Elf with Stone Colossus, very interesting. So there's that, and you can see what it does. Because if I go in depth on every single card, we will be here for a while. But if someone would want me to do that, let me know in the comments down below, and I can like literally tell you what each card does. But I feel like whenever I do upload the spell animations, the spell animation will literally tell you what it does. So there's that. Then you got the Caldera Trap for Myth, and then for life you get Living Elephant. If you combine Elephant and Forest Lord, you get that. And then you also get a Wild Amplifier. That's a thing too, or Wild Amplify. And then if you combine it with Death, or weave into Death, sorry, you can combine Sunbird with Fairy, Dark Fairy I think it is. And then you get a Sun Vulture. There's that. This one's gonna be nice too. I'm looking forward to that with the chromatic weaknesses. That's very interesting. And then you get Immolate, Attenuate. Same thing with the whole like negative auras. And then Malevolent, I think that's how you say that. But you combine a Elephant with Scorpion, you get that. And then you get Dune Trap. And on top of that, we do have the mono fusion spells as well. Just watch the Spellman video for like the new spells and you'll understand this more. So there's that. Now, if you're a balance, this is where things change. I was really looking forward to balance weaving, and honestly, I think they cooked. I will say, I think they cooked. because balance is the most unique one out of all of them. Like all the other ones are kind of like school identity. You can kind of just tell what's happening, everything like that. But balance has some unique stuff. So if you are a balance wizard and you want to weave into either the elemental schools or the spirit schools, what do you get? Now, if we go over here, we have Scorpion, new card. I don't think I've ever seen this card at all. So if you combine a Scorpion with Phoenix, that's what you get. And then your utility is Heatmander. So it's a 5-pip with dual dots, of course. So there's that. This is where it gets interesting for Ice, at least, and all the other ones. Ice gets Frozen Swarm, where you combine Locust Swarm and Snowman. That's your fusion. But what is your utility? You get Shade Trap. So Ice usually uses traps, as we all know. So you get 2 ice traps. What happens after that? You get a convert trap, essentially. So it converts your next balance spell into ice. So depending on your school, you will get certain converts. That's kind of crazy, I'll be honest. So look forward to balance stuff. I'm kind of glad they brought back this prism stuff, this prism mechanic. So it might make or break balance, sorry. So definitely going to be interesting. I think once you guys see all the animations for these, you'll understand a little bit more than just like reading hieroglyphics. But yeah, these spells are very interesting. I'm kind of glad. And yeah, I can definitely cook with these. I can see myself cooking with these 100%. So there's that. Then you get Lightning Lotuses, which I've already talked about in the previous video, but it's basically Locust Swarm and Stormzilla, and that's what your outcome is for the fusion. Then you get Duskblade, which is 2 Storm Blades, and then it also gives you a convert blade that is essentially converts your next bounce spell to Storm. So there's that. Then we got Mind Blown. Cam did tell me this is like up there with his favorite animations. Basically, it's Power Nova and Minotaur, and you get a big giant eye. Yeah. So that's a thing. And then you also get Story Trap, which is 2 traps, and then it's the same thing as this, where it, you know, converts your next bounce hit into a mid hit, but it's a trap on them, so it's like a prism. And then you have the, what is this, Foliage? Basically Sandstorm and Seraph, and you get that spell, and it's like a select target. And then you get Oasis Amplify. So it does a plus 30% outgoing damage for a life aura. But then it also, what it does, it converts balance into fire hit. Now I'm not too sure if this is like literally on the aura. I would assume it is, because these are all like, you know, trap, blade. This sounds like it's on your aura. So the next 4 hits for the next 4 rounds, any hit that you do, it converts into life. That's insane. I'm looking forward to this stuff 100%. And then Death gets Death Scuttler, which is just Scarab and Banshee. You get that. And then you get Drought Intunuate. So this is just like Oasis Amplify, but in reverse. In a way, I guess that's the best way to put it. So instead, it's a negative aura on them, and any damage that they take will convert it into death. So, well, any balance specifically, yeah. So that's the thing. And then of course we do have the mono fusions for the chameleon spells. Like I said, I've already went over it, but I did put the new spells underneath so people can understand what these symbols are. But the left one's kind of straightforward. So that's the thing. Now let's go into life and the rest of the schools, of course. Life Wizard, and you're weaving into blank school. So if I want to weave into fire, I get Forest Fire, which is the treant, and you combine it with the elephant, and that's what you get. And then your utility is Temper Grendel, which is just a dual dot. That's your utility. And then for ice, you get Taiga King, where you combine Forest Lord and Snowman. That's your outcome. And then you also get Patience Trap. And then for Storm, you get Lord of Lightning. I'm glad they kind of reused. This is what I'm happy for, but we'll get to. But I'm kind of glad they're using these Forest Lord animations because, I don't know, it brings back memories. Lucky. So I'm glad they're doing these. But Storm, Lord of Lightning, where you get Forest Lord, combine it with a Lightning Bat. You get Energy Blade as well as your utility, which this was like the first spell that they used, if I remember. And then we got Centurion, where it's like Centaur and Minotaur, you get Centurion. And then you also get a Memory Trap. And then you got Gorda Leprechaun, which they've also teased, I believe, which is a Leprechaun and Banshee. And you get End Insinuate, so same thing as like what I premised before. And then you get Desert Lord, which is Forest Lord and Locust Worm. And then also you get your Dual Blade, Life and Bounce. And then here's your Mono Fusion as well, which I've already covered for the new spell, but basically like the fusion spells of these, and with updated graphics. And then I added the aura at the bottom so people can understand what aura that is. And then if we go to Death, the second to last one, Death Wizard weaving into Blank School. So if you're weaving into Fire, Ice, Storm, Myth, Life, or Balance, these are your spells. So if you weave into Fire, you get your Dual Dot as your utility, of course. And then for your spell, for your fusion spell, you combine Skeletal Dragon and Elephant. That's your outcome. For Ice, you get Grave Chill, which is essentially the red ghost spell, which is like a hit-in bubble. So if you combine that with a beetle, that's your outcome. 7 pip is crazy though. And then you get a freeze trap. And then for Storm, if you do the same thing, you combine that with a Kraken, you get Joltergeist. I think this is a boss, I believe, in Imperia. I remember seeing this boss or something similar to this. And then you also get your Drowned Blade. And then Myth gets a unique spell. They get a Mythic Vampire. Bleh the Impaler. It's nice. Like, the art looks nice. I'm glad that they're like venturing out in this domain. So if you the way that you get this is a vampire and a bloodbat. You combine them, that's what you get. What's also interesting is even though it's doing myth damage, it's also a drain, so you are getting health from this as well. So I might see some people run this, who knows. And then of course you have your Extinction Trap as well as your utility. For Life, you get Green Blight, so if you combine a Banshee and Centaur, that's your outcome. And then you have your Creation Amplify. And then lastly, you have your Desert Banshee, which is just Banshee and Scarab. That's your outcome. And you have your Dual Blade. Then you have your Mono Fusion as well for the Anubis spell. So you get Anubis's Bite and Anubis's Grasp. And depending what you fuse with it, that's your outcome. And as you can see from the bottom. And then I added Pathogen right here too, because it is a new spell. Not everyone knows these symbols yet, so it's perfect for this type of stuff. And then you have Myth. So that's our last school that we're going to be going over. Myth Wizard weaving into Blank School. So if you're a Myth and you want to weave into Fire, you'll get your Dual Dot, of course. And then you also can get your fusion spell, which is Medusa's Fury, which you get from combining a Medusa and an Elephant, and you get Medusa's Fury. Then you have Blizzatar, where you combine a Minotaur and a Wyvern, and you get Blizzatar. Then you have your Craft Trap, of course, which is your Dual Trap. Then for Storm, you get Storm and Gorgon, which is just Medusa and Triton combined. Very interesting. And then you do get a Dual Blade, of course. Life, you get Swamp Clops, and then the way that you get that is combining Cyclops and Treant. So definitely get those. And you get your Creation Amplify. And then Death, which, I mean, I can go in depth on all these cards and what they do, but I kind of wish for the Toad, what they would have done was use Death Minotaur. I know a lot of people wanted Deadly Minotaur as like a spell. I mean, it's still possible. It's still possible, right? Because if they can do it right here, right, you know, you can definitely use this down the line. Like, I've personally wanted Fiery Giant and Lava Lord, but those didn't become a thing, sadly. But hopefully down the line, if they add more fusions and stuff like that, we can get a Deadly Minotaur, right? But we do get Poisonous Toad for combining the 4-pip Humungo Frog and a Skeletal Pirate. And then you also get your final attunement. And then last spell, which is Sandtroll, which you get from combining a Troll and a Scarab. And get your Tomb Blade. And then of course they do have the mono fusions for the new spells, of course. But that's basically all the spells and the best way to cover them. Now, if you guys want me to make a separate in-depth video, because this video is already 20 minutes, like, I can make a separate video going in depth on every spell. But the beginning of the portion of this video kind of just tells you the whole like utility portion that you get. But if you want me to go in depth on each and individual spell, I'd say I can, but it just depends on the reaction from the community if they want me to do that. But I rather wait for a little bit into test realm, because I purposely am waiting to be able to record all these spells in game and just clearly just show you what's happening so people don't get as lost. And you can see there's what, 6 spells each, right? I'm gonna have to record each an individual one, and then if I want to record these bottom ones too, it's gonna be a lot of spells. I'm gonna like have to find a lot of people to help me record all that stuff. So if you want to help me and help me record all these animations, join Discord. I would appreciate all the people that can help me out, because you know, luckily I'm just posting this all for content's sake for you guys as well, and posting out this guide, of course. So if you want to see this guide, join Discord. You can just literally snag it, look at it, do whatever you want. Save it as your own if you want to. I genuinely don't care. So if you want to look at it, join the Discord, and that's basically it. So hopefully enjoy the little mini session of me just quickly just going over the spells, and yeah, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that type of stuff. Join Discord if you guys haven't, as I will say. Also, stop by the Twitch channel sometime, and don't forget to turn on your notifications, leave a like on this video, and all that type of stuff. So, talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.